Hey guys, what's up? Son of Chelsea here, back here again. We had some technical difficulties before we started this, so I had to kind of redo. So anyone was watching, sorry about that. So we've started up again. But basically, for those who weren't there, just to explain what we're going to be doing today, instead of doing a Tel Aviv review, I thought, how about we do a discussion video? I know you guys really liked it when I got Footy Writer on last time, and I've made Hangouts before, and I really want to get into the mode of kind of doing more of them. So I thought, how about we discuss Chelsea? So I've got Max from The12thMan here. Go and check out his channel, link in the description below. And yeah, you may, if you're like an old viewer of mine, you may even remember him from some of my older streams that I used to do. I remember doing a stream about Costa after the Stamp and the Liverpool game, and I think you were on it as well with Scott and all the Talk Chelsea guys. But now he has his own channel, 12thMan. So introduce yourself, mate.
Yeah, I'm Max, as Daniel said. I'm from The12thMan. If you don't know what we're about, basically we do some football type podcast videos. As you see, I'm a Chelsea fan, but we like to aim ourselves at fans of the whole football spectrum. So that's fans from all countries. We do specialise on English football a little bit, as obviously that is, in my opinion, the best league. We also do some real life football videos. We go to games. There's going to be a vlog on a game this Saturday. And also we do some FIFA videos. So it'd be greatly appreciated if you could check us out and leave a sub.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say go and check out his channel. I mean, FIFA coming out this week, isn't it? Next week, sorry. So going to be loads of content, Ultimate Team. I'm not a big fan of Ultimate Team, but I'm sure Max is, and I'm sure you guys are. So go and check out the channel as well. Loads of other videos. And I know, been talking to Max, he wants to really take that channel forward. So he's going to be putting more content on there. So definitely go and check the video out. So let's get on to what we're going to talk about, which is, of course, Chelsea. Had a good win last night. It's kind of a rarity at the moment. So, I was at the West Brom game. I'm keeping my ticket for that because if that's wins are quite rare at the moment for Chelsea. Hopefully that's going to change quite soon. But, that's the way it is at the moment. And we got one last night. Fair enough, it wasn't against the best opponent. I've said a lot on 100% Chelsea about this, but I think we've got to take it in the context of the game itself. Let's look at the game, and the fact is we needed a win. Also, I think we were very fortunate we had that game last night because we were able to kind of shift around the team. Jose was able to make the changes at the back. So, Max, firstly, just give me your kind of brief thoughts on the game, team selection, all that good stuff.
Yeah, firstly, with the team selection, I was very, very happy to see it. Obviously, I didn't agree that Fabregas started. However, he did have a good game, which was good to see. Ivanovic was dropped, which I'm happy about. Personally, I've never been a big fan of Ivanovic, especially now. He's been awful, and if he does start on Saturday, I will not be happy. But yeah, Barbara Rahman looked very, very good, very fast. Sort of like Ashley Cole when he first came, very fast, sort of quite attackingly minded. Also, like Ivanovic, however, he is good at getting back, and he does seem like the complete fullback in a minute. Hazard, obviously, awful penalty, probably one of the worst I've seen. Not something you'd expect from a player of that quality. He seems a little bit unsettled at the moment. As you can see, when he was going up to take that penalty, the composure wasn't quite there, and the way he struck it as well. Normally, it's sort of like a light tap into either the corners or the bottom or something like that. But he seemed to sort of, I don't know, just try and smash it in, which isn't his normal thing. He seems unsettled. I would normally say that we should drop him for the next game due to his form. However, with how massive a player he is and how massive a game it is against Arsenal, he can do wonders if he does turn up. So if he doesn't play well against Arsenal, I do think he should be dropped. What's your opinion on Hazard at the moment, Daniel?
It's really weird. I mean, of course, it's just an absolute joy to watch Hazard play football. And he has to be one of my favorite players. What he did last season, what he's done in the previous season, it's really weird. He's kind of, that penalty for me summed up Chelsea's starts of the season. It really did. Just that penalty and the way it was struck. Funny enough, in the warm-up to that game, he had a similar shot. It wasn't a penalty. It was like they were warming up, and he blasted it literally to the back of the Harding lower, and I thought, Jesus Christ. And then, of course, it led on to him missing the penalty. Yeah, he hasn't been at it this season, like a lot of our players. Let's be honest. I think we're very easy to make scapegoats, and when I think fans are naturally make scapegoats at certain periods of time. And to be honest, we played a lot better last night. I think the thing is with Hazard, he's just missing that little bit of cutting edge. He's getting into the right positions. He's still getting past players. It's just that final clinical bit. that makes him tick and gets him the goals that he does. That penalty, the swagger seems to have gone about Hazard. Him actually impacting a game. He got better as the game went on, but let's be honest, it isn't Hazard at his best. So hopefully it will come good. Saturday, I think, we're praying that all of our big players turn up, because they kind of have to if we have any chance of getting a positive result. That's what happens in big games. You need everyone to play well. You can't just have one player. That usually works sometimes against smaller teams, as we saw against West Brom. Pedro Rodriguez really bossed that game, and the reason we won it was because he was on the pitch. You can't do that against a team like Arsenal. You need a rounded performance. You may, of course, one or two players are going to score goals, and can I give you an attacking option, but everyone has to play a part in these big games, and that's why Chelsea have been so effective in previous years. And Hazard is part of that. Hazard has to be more clinical, is getting into the right positions. Remember that chance we had, kind of the only clear-cut chance we had at City was Hazard, and he didn't take that chance. And, I think that was a big miss. And usually Hazard would take those chances. So it's like a lot of the team. They're just lacking confidence at the moment when players like Hazard, who, it's really weird, because I think actually us winning the league, I've said this on 100% Chelsea, us winning the league and then to where we are now, it's a massive drop. Like, it's so different. It's a massive change for all these players who are used to winning, players who are used to going out, scoring lots of goals. They're humans at the end of the day. And, I think sometimes people forget that. They're not machines. So obviously they are feeling like out of confidence at the moment, but hopefully that game last night did bring their confidence up a bit more.
Yeah, I completely agree. It may seem harsh wanting to drop, however, in a sense, I'm sort of like an old-fashioned fan, and I think that no matter what their name is, if they're not performing, they shouldn't be playing. I know a lot of people are saying that Mourinho is quite quite loyal to some players in a way. Sort of, he has his favourites and who he wants, and Ivanovic does seem like one of them. I don't think he should start this weekend, as he has been awful, but I feel like the players have something to prove on Saturday. After proving it against Makaviv, or however it is you pronounce it, they now sort of have to go and prove that they can do it at a top scale. I think the game yesterday will give them a lot of confidence. That should be good. I'm massively looking forward to the game on weekend. Whether or not we could do it, I'm not too sure. I feel like the key players for that, I'm not sure if Pedro is fit for it, actually. Do you know if he is?
I'm not entirely sure. I've seen different things. Jose has come out and said that he isn't fit. Him and Willian are both unavailable.
Oh, wow.
I'm not sure. It'd be interesting. I think at the moment, I don't think he'll play. I don't think Jose would lie. We've seen in the past him do it with certain players. I think Pedro and Willian will both be out of the game on Saturday. I think especially Willian, his injury last night, I think definitely, and this knock is obviously proving to be a little bit more than we first thought. So yeah, that should impact things. So I expect both of them to be out on Saturday.
In that case, I personally sort of like to see Oscar play on the right. I know some of you might think that he's sort of just an attacking midfielder. However, if you remember back when we had Juan Mata, Oscar did actually play on the right-hand side of the midfield. So maybe he can go back there. I do personally prefer Fabregas as the attacking midfielder as well. And Loftus-Cheek, I'm sure you've got something to say about him as well. He was brilliant yesterday. Obviously, he did get a yellow card within the first minute of the game, which did get me a little bit worried to start off with. But he did look quality. He's got everything we need. Like, going forward, he's big, he's fast, he's strong. I think he's perfect. And if he doesn't start on Saturday, I think that'd be a really, really unfair move from Mourinho.
Yeah, I mean, I have been, in my preview for Everton, I said we should start Loftus-Cheek. And I've been a big fan of Loftus-Cheek. And one thing I noticed about him last night, and I feel this was something obvious. I mean, comparisons to Lampard, comparisons to Pogba, no point doing that because he's not at that level yet. But one thing we can clearly say is he gives us something that we don't have currently in the team, which is someone who's bursting. Since Lampard's gone, we haven't had a box-to-box midfielder who can run through players, really positive. And that's what I liked about Loftus-Cheek. I think a key part of that was, for me, that it wasn't just what he done, just the mentality of him when he got that early booking, which was never a booking. There were worse challenges. Just to say, I think the referee was absolutely awful last night. I haven't, since the start of the season, I think I criticised the ref on the first game of the season, but other than haven't criticised any refs. But he was absolutely awful last night, let's be honest. And, I just thought he was absolute crap for both teams last night. But that was never a yellow. But some youngsters would have probably frozen at that point, and thought, oh, wait, I'm going to calm it down now. I probably won't take as many risks. Loftus-Cheek just was like, no, I'm still gonna shield. I'm still gonna get in there. I'm still gonna be powerful. I'm still gonna try and make an impact on the game. It was the hold-up play as well of him in midfield in that central area, shielding off 2 or 3 players at a time, running through burst of pace. That's what we're going to need on Saturday, a burst of pace to get the crowd going, to make that transition from defense to attack. And Loftus-Cheek provides that. Loftus-Cheek, I know people say, oh, he's not ready, he's ready. He is ready. And the only way he's going to get better at being ready for big games is playing him in these games. The only way he's going to get match experience and match fitness is by playing him in matches. There comes a point for me where, and especially with the form they're in, the form we're in at the moment, I actually think it's benefited Loftus-Cheek because it's given him that chance to get in the team, and it's given him that chance to be an option for Jose. He has a number of options for me on Saturday. I'd play Loftus-Cheek in midfield. I'd play him in maybe a little bit of a decreased role, but Arsenal are not going to know that much about Loftus-Cheek. They're not going to know as much as because everyone expects Jose not to play Loftus-Cheek. Could you imagine if he puts him in the team? Because it does maybe unsettle the opponent. It maybe thinks, oh yeah, we've got a chance now, or it maybe actually think, wait a minute, why is he putting there? Because probably Wenger's preparing for Fabregas, maybe preparing for Ramirez. He isn't preparing for Loftus-Cheek, who a player who I think could impact the game on Saturday. It's a sort of game where you put in a youngster, and of course it can go either of 2 ways, but it could go the way where Loftus-Cheek comes in, makes an impact, scores a goal, does something, has a good performance, maybe even if it's a 60-minute performance. I personally think we should take a chance on him, take a risk on him. I think he's the future of Chelsea, and we've got to prove that we can develop youth. And you have someone there waiting to be brought into the first team. And everyone who says we need a Pogba, we need a box-to-box midfielder, what's the point in going out and spending 70 million? We've got one right there to play.
I completely agree with you. There's nothing that infuriates me more than people saying that we should go out and get this player, this player, this player. People saying that, for example, Bamford, Loftus-Cheek, they're not ready, they're not ready. With Bamford, I think it's great that he went on loan to a Premier League side. Personally, I feel like bringing Falcao in was a waste. I know a lot of people would think Bamford's not ready, but it's, again, a third striker. It's one of them things that you should take risks on. Like, you don't trust that he can sort of play as a third striker for a season. And how are you going to expect him to work his way up? I think people say, oh, yeah, he's not ready to play with Loftus-Cheek as well. When is he ever going to be ready to play a first game? You have to take that risk at some point. And I especially think that with where Chelsea are in the table at the moment, we don't really have a massive point to prove. It's not like we're trying to hold on to anything. We're not trying to hold on to like an unbeaten season at home or an unbeaten season or sort of anything like that. But the game is massively, massively important. I think that's going to benefit Loftus-Cheek in a huge way because after the game he had, he might sort of have a massive boost of confidence after being one of the best players on the field and coming out and sort of rising from a current Chelsea team that isn't looking so strong and sort of bringing himself forward as a man that can possibly lead Chelsea, not to the title, but to a position where they are in a much more comfortable place in the league. So I think that it could be a perfect game for him. And especially with what you were saying about how Arsenal players aren't going to be aware of him. If you look at Arsenal's midfield, the players that are going to be sort of up against him in a physical battle a lot, you got Arteta, Flamini, Coquelin, whoever it is they decide to play. I personally don't think any of them players are up to his level, both pace-wise, physical-wise, or anything like that. So I think that he should have a very good game. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree. I think we should play Loftus-Cheek. I just think Jose would be a massive respect to him if he takes that chance. And I think it would excite all of us to see him on the team sheet starting a game. I don't think there'd be any fan at the moment who'd say, oh, no, why are we playing Loftus-Cheek? I think everyone would, after what he did yesterday, would be happy with that. Kind of moving on from, the game against Tel Aviv. I know we'll come back to Arsenal. What are your thoughts currently on Chelsea? And I get a lot of people think there's something going on inside the club. I wouldn't say it's exactly that. I think I know people will say you're still using an excuse. I'm not using this as an excuse because we've been awful in some games this season, and I don't think this should be used as an excuse, but I still think it goes back to pre-season. I still think that absolutely screwed up our start to the season, and it probably still is affecting us now. Whatever people say, people say they should be to fitness now, but surely it should still be having an impact. And it means that we're getting into gear later, which has meant that we're behind in the table. So yeah, what have your thoughts, kind of extended thoughts, been on the actual problem within Chelsea? Is it something behind the scenes? Is it either Carnera? I know people have been saying, nah, I'm kind of sick and tired of hearing about that. I think it's something more football based than actually that. Is it the form of the players? Is it pre-season? Is it tiredness? Yeah, just give me your thoughts on what's gone wrong at Chelsea so far.
Yeah, I'm going to start off by saying it happens. A lot of Chelsea fans are making a big fuss out of it, but you look at teams all over history. I mean, you can look at United a couple of seasons back. They had it for a whole season. I don't think it's going to last long. Personally, I don't think it lasts longer than another 2 or 3 games. I think if we win on Saturday, then we should start going from there. But I think that the pre-season thing was pretty ridiculous, considering we started around 10 days later than everyone else, I think it was, and finished 3 days before the start of the season. However, I think it's something on the training ground as well. The players just don't seem up for it. They seem very complacent. I don't know if the way Mourinho speaks is because of that. Obviously, if it is, it would be strange to see that happening now, considering he has done that for his whole managerial career and he has been at Chelsea for years. I think this is his 3rd season now. I think, complacency is a massive problem with how much they won it by last season. The group of players might have sort of been overpraised in a sense. I know Mourinho did let them have an extended holiday, hence why the pre-season started a little bit later. So I think that is going to have a massive effect on it. But I don't know, you've got to look at it as it's the same team that won the league last season. It's not going to last a whole lot longer than, I don't think it'd go any further than this month. If it does, and there is something serious there. But if the same group of players could do what they done last season, who's to say they can't do it again this season? I know we're, 11 or 14 points behind City now. I can't remember. I think it might be 11. But that means nothing. I mean, we were, 8 points ahead of City. By Christmas, they'd caught up with us last season. So, yeah, I think that it is complacency in a minute. I definitely think that whatever happens this weekend, we'll definitely pivot it either in the wrong direction, and then we'll keep on going down until possibly next month when we play against another side like West Brom, because we haven't had the easiest of starts so far. But yeah, if we win, I definitely think it'd go up from there.
Yeah, I do agree. I think complacency is a massive thing, and it's a big thing with. I mean, there's so many different factors now. You have the fact that clubs in the Premier League are just so much better. You know, the clubs lower down in the league, because of the TV money, it's really had an effect now. And the amount of teams you have with actual squads, you know, they're not just their first 11, actual squads now. It's kind of quite amazing now that TV money has really helped out lower league teams. I mean, the quality of some of the players like Dimitri Payet for West Ham. I mean, what a player. I mean, that player, he could play for any of the top clubs and he's gone to West Ham. And you just look at the squad depth of someone like Crystal Palace, you know, it kind of shows you. Crystal Palace a few years ago were supposed to be going down and they've stayed up. They've been able to get in Alan Pardew, who's done well for them. You know, just the depth in some of these teams is quite amazing. So it shows you as well that the league currently, if Chelsea probably 5, 10, maybe more than that, like 7 or 8 years ago, had this poor of a start, wouldn't have probably got punished as much as they are now, because the quality is kind of improved. So anytime you have an off day now, you are in trouble of losing that game. You know, it's not just drawing. You could lose that game, and you know that's currently a problem for us. And yeah, I do agree. It's the motivation of the players, and something that I hadn't noticed until last night was just I haven't seen players going in for challenges, really getting the opponent's faces. I haven't seen that this season. And I do agree with you. It all comes from complacency and just a lack of fitness, a lack of motivation from certain players. You have to question players like Cesc Fabregas, who looks like, to me, it looks like he's won the Premier League. He's reached the top of the mountain and now he's like, oh. And, you know, it's not like that. Unfortunately, it's not like that. You can't just, you have that great end to the season, but everyone wants to take your title the next year. So you have to be ready. And, you know, it's the whole transfer window as well, the complacency in the transfer window. I don't think we had the worst transfer window, and I don't think most Chelsea fans that I've spoken to haven't said we have had an awful transfer window. I just think it's the timing of the transfers. I've said this a lot. It's the timing of the transfers, the complacency within our board not to make those transfers earlier on in the summer. If we had made all of our transfers that we did before like pre-season and maybe just before starting, I think everyone had been like, yeah, we've got some decent signings in, got Begovic in. I know you said about Falcao and Bamford and, you know, all of that, but still decent signings. Pedro, what a signing that that was, all of the signings we brought in. It's just the way they were timed in within the transfer window. They were kind of dotted around, and it kind of made the transfer window actually look worse than it actually was, in my opinion. So it's difficult. And I think Saturday could be a good game because I think Jose absolutely, of course, hates Arsenal, as we all do. But he loves playing against Wenger, and it's the game that kind of, I think for Jose, it's kind of like the game where you can stand there and like, it's two clashes of football management going up against each other. You have Wenger, who's all about total football, about passing, all about the beautiful game, all about tiki-taka. And then you have Jose, who's very much about clinical, ruthless football, defensive stability, and kind of those two clashes. And Jose's always come out on top. And I think Jose is probably thinking, this could be a moment where it's going to turn around. Everyone thinks we're going to lose. Everyone's at the moment thinking such negativity around the club. So a win on Saturday, any win, I think we would be so buzzing. I think I wouldn't say all the problems be fixed, but it would be a massive, massive win mentally. And I think mentally against Arsenal, it would mentally affect them because they still haven't beaten Chelsea. So of course, moving on from that. So what would be your team for Arsenal? I think that Arsenal, for me, I'll say my team right now. I think of course, Begovic, only keeper you can play at the moment. Of course, right back, I put Dave, because I thought he was brilliant there. And as well, also because he's right back, he can help out more in attack, which I love. And as well, be able to keep up with the pace of Alexis Sanchez. You got, for me, even though Cahill and Zuma both had a brilliant game, I'd still bring JT back into that defense. I just think in these sort of games, the experience John Terry has in big game situations, you just cannot lose it. And especially with the tactics I think we're going to deploy, where it's going to be more of a tactical kind of sit deep counter attack, you need someone in there who has experience. So I put JT, and I'd probably... it's so difficult. It's so difficult between Cahill and Zuma because I think Zuma and JT work really well. I think the pace of Zuma helps JT if we get caught at the back. But Cahill was just immense yesterday. Once again, I know people say opposition, but I still think Cahill led the line. Was leading that back line really well. So it's really difficult. Maybe if I'm thinking from Jose's head, I think he'll stick with Cahill just because he trusts Cahill. And a lot of the time in massive games, he plays them too. So I'll stick with Cahill. Of course, Baba Rahman, I'd go in midfield. Now, this is the big midfield pairing. I'd probably go Matic and Loftus-Cheek. The three behind the striker, there's a bit of me that thinks he's going to bring in Ramirez at right wing, which I don't think works, but I think he probably will. But if you don't bring in Ramirez, I'd personally bring in Remy, like he did the other day, because Remy for me is a natural number 9. You could play him out wide. He's not naturally number 9, but he can score goals. He's a striker, so he knows where he's supposed to be, so he can help cut in from that right wing. Oscar's got to be in the middle for me. There was talk that apparently Fabregas and Oscar will play, both of them, but you could put, maybe there was some talk about Oscar going out to the right wing, so I don't know. So maybe Oscar, Hazard and Costa. That's what I'd go for. I know it's tough to drop Fabregas, but unless you switch Oscar to the right wing, I still can't play Fabregas in midfield for me. Central midfield, I just don't think he's good enough to play there. So give me your team.
Yep, obviously Begovic in goal. Can't have any arguments about that. Can't have any queries really. There's no one that can replace him. Baba Ruttman on the left, Azpilicueta on the right. Personally, I believe with the centre-back partnership, they did look very good yesterday, and I believe that if it isn't broke, then there's no need to fix it. So I would go for Cahill and Zuma. Don't mean to take anything away from Terry. No real no real Chelsea fan will ever sort of want to see him out of the team. And I'm not saying I do, but personally, from a sort of I just don't want to see us lose point of view, I would like to see the same centre-back partnership as yesterday. I don't think Terry has had the greatest start to the season. People are saying that he's past it, he's old, it's his last season, which people have been saying for years. You look at when, what's his name? The current Real Madrid manager, I've completely forgotten his name.
Benitez.
That's the one. Yeah, I had my blank there. If you look at when...
Don't worry, it was a bad period. You're lucky you've forgotten
it. Yeah. When you look at when Benitez was the manager, he already dropped Terry. Terry wasn't playing at centre-back. He literally had a whole season without playing. Mourinho came back and sort of brought him back to life. So people were saying 3-4 seasons ago, "Oh, Terry's past it. he's not going to play anymore. He needs to hang up his boots. So I feel like he does have another season left in him, but I feel like it is going to be what happened with Lampard when Mourinho came back, where it was sort of like, okay, you're going to be dropped out the side gradually. Obviously, you started every single game, played every minute of the league last season. You are going to sort of drift out. Some of the younger players are going to come in, but you're still going to be a massive part of the season. And we do need you to sort of, especially take a role in sort of raising some of the younger centre-backs like Zuma. I mean, Cahill does still need a little bit of discipline, in my opinion, but he is looking like head and shoulders above what he was this time last year. For the midfield, I'd obviously go for Loftus-Cheek. Looked amazing yesterday. I will be fuming if he does not start on Saturday. I feel like the whole
Sorry to interrupt. What if, for instance, you're in Jose's situation and on Jose's, because this is sorry to interrupt. I just want to ask you this. Knowing Jose and on his track record won't go over youth in these types of games. Who would you put? Because to me, if it isn't Loftus-Cheek, you put Ramirez in there, in my opinion.
Definitely.
Would you agree with that?
Well, I know you were saying about how Ramirez might start on the right. I personally, as you was also saying, I think Oscar should start on the right. So Ramirez will be starting on the bench. I feel like he would start Ramirez because he does like going for experience. But I think that the whole sort of idea of like the whole Chelsea core will sort of seem a little bit fucked up to a certain extent if Ruben Loftus-Cheek doesn't start on Saturday with the game he just had. It does seem a little bit unfair, sort of taking age into account and then experience considering what he'd done in the Champions League. I think it was his first Champions League start, not 100% sure. Obviously, having Matic next to him will help. If he does make any mistakes, Matic can clear that up, as he is a massive defensive midfielder. Obviously, I don't think he will start the full 90 minutes. As you said, 60 minutes would be great for him. Ramirez is one of them players that comes on as a sub when everyone else tends to be a little bit tired and just does that running around that sort of some of our players can't do, and obviously some of the Arsenal players won't be able to do at that stage in the game. On the left, as I said, I would start Hazard. If this was any other Premier League game, I would say that he needs to be dropped purely for the fact that he hasn't been playing well, and I believe that no matter what your name is, you could be fucking Messi, Zidane, whatever. If you're not playing well, you shouldn't be in the team. I mean, Cuadrado, he didn't play well. He wasn't going to start the game, was he? So it seems a little bit unfair. However, for a game like Arsenal, we do need to sort of have our massive players in there. Like what you were saying about Mourinho not starting youth, he's going to want to have the players that are proven, the players that he knows and trusts can do it, even if they're not on the best of form. Obviously, I would have loved to see Pedro on the right. I think he would have been amazing, especially playing against Sanchez. He knows a lot about him. Played with him quite a bit, obviously rotated with him, training ground for a few years. Like Pedro was there for most of his career, so was Sanchez at that point. So I feel like that could have been really good, but seeing Oscar on the right, I feel like he can still do a job or two, and especially putting him back in that position where he did show wonder a couple of seasons ago, and he hasn't really been quite up to that level that he did show last season. It would be nice to sort of see him have another go on the right, and it might be a position change possibly. I would put Fabregas in the middle. Like normally, again, I would go for Oscar. I was happy to see him start on Tuesday, because I think he should have started a lot more. But obviously, with how Fabregas played as well, looked a lot better, a lot more sort of clinical. Normally, when he has the ball, he has been sort of going backwards and sort of holding on to it a little bit too long. Last season, we were doing the whole sort of tight defence and then pass it to Fabregas, where he'd sort of get it forward really quickly, sort of quick movements, counter attack. However, this thing he seems to be resorting back to sort of the like hold on to the ball, possessive play that he showed at Barcelona. I don't think that's been working for him too well so far. Up front, Costa, Remy can do it. However, I think he needs to learn the offside rule. I mean, it just gets too much at some points where he's just constantly offside. Considering he played more or less 90 minutes, I think it was on Wednesday. He didn't really show enough for me. Like Costa came on, showed him how it's done, scored a quality goal. Obviously, won us a penalty as well. Almost scored a couple of minutes after the goal. Still didn't look to his best, but it's definitely going to be a massive confidence boost and can give us that boost this weekend, possibly go out and win.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would sort of go with that team. Yeah, I think I'd probably maybe go with Remy out wide, but then of course it's going to be difficult. You can never second guess Jose in these big games. I mean, I remember going up to the League Cup final and seeing the team news came out, and we all thought Cahill was in midfield, and of course Zuma was in midfield. So you never know what Jose is going to throw in these big games, especially against Arsenal. The kind of tactical, he loves these games, and he's going to love it even more because I think he likes being under pressure. I think he feeds off being under pressure, especially in these big games, especially at home at Stamford Bridge. So it could be a game. I'm going to move away from Chelsea for a minute because I know we talked earlier about your channel and kind of FIFA. And I hope people who, of course, like FIFA. I just want to ask you from like a gaming perspective. I know this is kind of random and kind of talking away from what are your thoughts on FIFA this year? Because I mean, I've played the demo. It's pretty much the same as last year. I mean, every 2 or 3 years we get a revamp of what it is. My big thing, I love playing career mode. I love career mode. It's probably what I spend most time doing when I'm playing FIFA. I feel it's been too kind of boring for too long now. I think kind of some of the features I've seen for career mode have looked a little bit better. The preseason, the training. I think this could add just more replayability because I find I'll play the first season and once I've got past that, I'm like, oh, because old storylines, old stuff starts to get dull after a year for me. So what are your feelings? Of course, you're of course big into Ultimate Team as well. So what are your feelings going into this year's FIFA?
Obviously, talking about the gameplay itself, there's not a lot that can sort of be spoken about. Every year, there's always something little that happens. Last year, it's fucking moving corner flags. This year, you got vanishing spraying women. Doesn't make a massive difference, in my opinion. No one really wants to sit and listen to about gameplay and stuff like that. I'll leave that to Lasty and Matt HD Gamers to do. I prefer talking about sort of some of the new additions in the game. So there's obviously career mode, massive fan of. If any of you do sort of follow my channel, I did do a Derek McCallum career mode. Obviously, he's someone that I do run a channel with. Player career mode, I do find a lot better than the sort of squad career mode, manager career mode, should I say. As with the manager career mode, you tend to sort of do the first transfer window, sell loads of players, bring in some of the best players, and then you never really want to do sort of, no one wants to sit there and play 36 games of FIFA consecutively with the same team without sort of any real gain, especially if you're a top side. And obviously then when you do get to the top, there's not really a whole lot left to do. With player career mode, I think it's a different story. I think it can be extremely good at times. However, it just seems way too difficult to sort of get up there and play and sort of get your rating up. And it can take sort of 2, 3, even 4 seasons. If you look at Spencer FC's career mode he's done, I think he's in his 3rd season now and he's just sort of hit 82 rated. I feel like with the preseason tournaments and the training, that is a massive addition. That is going to bring a lot more players into career mode, which is massive. Obviously, biggest appeal about FIFA 16 is a foot draft. If you are subscribed to my channel, you'll see that I've done two episodes of it on a demo. I think it's absolutely massive, brilliant addition. It's something where they've obviously seen some sort of small games that the community has done a few times. I know the Sidemen done a massive draft thing on FIFA 15 at the beginning. And I think it's great to see EA actually sort of listen to what the consumers actually want and add something completely new into it. And I do like the whole feel and aesthetics of the game. It's a lot brighter. It's a lot sort of, it's a lot cleaner. It's not so dark as the other game. And I think that is going to bring a lot of players in. I think this whole foot draft thing is great. And sort of what they've done with some of the player cards and the informs, they look different. You've got like actual players rather than just a like headshot of it. I think the game is going to be a lot more different this season. I know what they've done with price ranges as well that a lot of people are unhappy with. They've made them like a lot bigger. So there's players that are going from 30k anywhere up to sort of 400-500k, which obviously can bring in the whole coin buying and sort of fucking up the market a little bit. But at least players are actually going to sell and you could buy players and they're not going to be extinct. So I think that's massive. It should be a good game. I'm looking forward to doing a lot of content on it. I've got a few ideas for Ultimate Team, and also I'm a shareholder at Real Oviedo, so there's going to be a manager career mode on that. Hopefully that's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I mean, it should. I mean, once again, as I say, I try Ultimate Team, but then I kind of just forget about it, and I'm like, too much work for me, like putting in for Ultimate Team. I find it.
You've got to get good players. I mean, last season, I went into it. I mean, I got like 99 rated Team of the Year Ronaldo. I got 96 rated Team of the Year Neuer. I got two bloody Messis. So, I mean, I had sort of, at one point, I had like 26 million coins to sort of literally do anything I wanted with. If you're sort of just a casual player, it can be quite difficult to get out there and sort of enjoy the game.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that for me, I've always found is it hypocritical or the kind of mind-boggling thing for me is the fact that you can actually just buy your way into getting a good team. I don't understand that. I've never understood it. People trying to explain it to me, I don't understand, because what's the attraction with it? If you can just, what's the point in having another mode where you don't have to pay, or having the pay mode in because you can just like, oh, screw this, I'll just pay my money and
I completely agree.
I'll get the team I want. And also what it does is, I know people, and I've played people before who have beat me on Ultimate Team, and I've had like a crap team, like 60 something star rated, and really bad team, but they've only beaten me like 3-1 with a really high rated team. So like, you're having bad players because they spend money on getting the cards. So it's not actually the best players getting the best teams, it's just the people with the money to go and buy loads and loads of. I saw a story, I don't know if you saw this, someone found stole diamonds or whatever. You may have seen the story. Like, I saw someone apparently stole diamonds and then traded them for like 10k FIFA points for their ultimate team. And I was like, seriously, you got to get your priorities right in life. And you see these YouTubers who put the opening loads of cards like 2 hours long, and they never get the player they want. I'm like, it's quite ridiculous. But I've never really.
It's happened already. I'm seeing obviously a few YouTubers have got the early access. There's people like, unless on Gib in one day he's already got 1 million coins. He said he spent a shit ton on FIFA points. Like, you see them with like 80,000 FIFA points, and when you look at that on the actual money wise, that's a good sort of. In some cases, it's only it's over £1,000 in one day just on a game, just to sort of get yourself in there. It seems a little bit ridiculous to me.
More like than you do for the actual game. Right?
Yeah,
I think I've just never understood it. But I know
it's crazy.
It's obviously my worry was always, and my annoyance was, because the Ultimate Team's so big, EA dedicates so much to it, so they almost abandon other features. So they abandoned like career mode for years. I don't know if they've updated it this year, and they do update it every year. But let's be honest, I still think we need a massive overhaul of career mode. I want animated like manager press conferences. I want more press conference options. I want loads of more options on the career mode for me to make it really, really good.
Have you ever seen the NBA career mode, just out of curiosity?
What, the 2K one that's like my player or whatever? I've seen like
got personal life in it as well.
I've seen personal life. That's quite amazing. And of course that's 2K, so it's of course different developer, but I'd love to see something along those lines, just something that makes it feel more cool, and like something that you want to spend hours and hours on. I mean, I spend hours on career mode anyway, but it's not as cool. I mean, other than, I know you're into gaming, so what about any other games at the moment? I mean, funny enough, I'm watching walkthrough. I'm not going to play the game, but watching walkthroughs of Until Dawn.
That's exactly what I was about to say. I think that looks like a quality game. I haven't sort of featured any other games at the minute. Obviously, things like Grand Theft Auto, Call of Duty, I've never actually played before. So making a video on Call of Duty could be interesting, considering I'm going to be absolutely awful. Until Dawn. It's funny you say that. I watched KSI's walkthrough on it. I know quite a few YouTubers have done it, but the fact that every walkthrough you see, depending on the YouTuber, ends different. I think KSI ended with like one character. There's other YouTubers such as PewDiePie who ended with like 4 or 5. I'm not 100% sure. I don't personally watch his videos, but I think it's great to have a game that can take so many different directions. And when you look at the graphics as well, it's getting to a level now where it's unbelievable. Like, how much people can do with like one game, and sort of
actors now, like games, full actor motion capture is getting so
it's incredible.
It's just like actors now actors like they know that now they don't just do like films and TV, like video games are now part of that, and I think that's really cool. I'm not I still think the whole idea, it's like with Heavy Rain, I kind of was a little bit like that with Heavy Rain when I played it. I was like unsure of it because of the fact you don't know what ending you're going to get. It definitely brings back replay, but I remember having an awful ending for Heavy Rain, and I remember just feeling really depressed after. I was probably going through a tough period in my life, but like that was it leaves a bitter taste in my mouth. So I'm not sure. It's still very new, the idea of so many different, it definitely does give replayability, and definitely does give many different options in terms of gaming, and the fact you don't know who's going to stay alive. and which of course is interesting, and kind of the way they do it with the game is butterfly effect, so it can go one way or it can go another, and those decisions kind of change the way. I find that quite cool. But I mean, yeah, FIFA definitely is coming out next week. I think, is it on the 24th? Is it? So I think,
I'm not too sure. I think it's next Tuesday for all I know.
or is it the 20? I've seen different. I've seen 22nd and the 24th.
22nd, I think it is in this country. It depends.
Well, it's definitely coming out next week. We can definitely say that, and hopefully, what I'll do is I go out, buy the game, and then I play it all day. So, and I play career mode a lot. So, I'm sure everyone will be doing that. So, and as I've said, go out and check out Mac's channel. He will be putting loads of content, I'm sure, on Ultimate Team, career mode, all that good stuff. So you can go, and maybe in the future,
period.
Yeah, I mean, maybe in the future I may even do some gaming. Let me know at Son of Chelsea if you think that could be a good idea for the channel. Gaming, how about that? I'm not entirely sold on the whole gaming thing. I tried a channel years ago, which no one on here will know about. It kind of ended within a week. So, let me know it at my Twitter at Son of Chelsea if you'd like to see me do some gaming. FIFA mainly, that is what I do, but let me know. So let's just kind of wrap it up at this point. Let's just end with kind of discussing about where you think Chelsea are going to end up this season. Of course, we've got the game on Saturday, which is absolutely huge. Actually, before we talk about the rest of the season, just give me a quick score prediction on Saturday. Which way you think it's going to go?
Yeah, in my opinion, it's the biggest game of the season. I hate Arsenal to the extent where I love everything they hate everything they love. Sort of like when it comes to Spurs as well. It's got to the point where I have a tolerance for Spurs because of how much Arsenal hate them. But yeah, I feel like, obviously I'm paying to go there. There's nothing I hate more than paying 60 odd quid for a ticket, going and seeing a 0-0 draw. So personally, anything that's not a 0-0 draw or a loss would be good. I'd take a draw. I think that with the form we've been in, that would be good. However, when you look at the game in pre-season against Arsenal, they won 1-0. Obviously, we weren't on the best of form there after losing 2 of our pre-season games at that point. But yeah, they didn't look like a whole world better than us. They haven't had the most convincing start. Obviously, they lost on Tuesday. They did lose their opening game of the season to West Ham. They haven't looked brilliant. So I feel like with the confidence boost from Wednesday night, I feel like we could cause, I'm going to say, an upset as going into the game. Arsenal are the favourites, surprisingly. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a really tight game. I just think it will. I don't think we're facing someone of the likes of Man City, who are just absolutely amazing in form. Arsenal have kind of had a bit of an indifferent start to the season. And, I think that it'll be interesting to see. I think I'm going to stay positive. I'm going to say 1-0, but I think it's going to be a really tight 1-0. I think it'll be like the United game in April, which was not nice to watch, but I don't think we're going to go out there and smash them 6-0. I really don't. Literally. Like, I will if we beat them by more than 2 goals on Saturday, I will start up a gaming channel. No, I'm just kidding. I will start doing gaming videos if we beat them by more than 2 goals. That's how much I know that it's just not going to start. Chelsea will win 3-0 on Saturday, and I'll have to start making gaming videos. So you can hold me to that. I'll say that just because. And to be honest, I don't think I'll lose much.
If Arsenal win by any more than 2 goals on Saturday, I will do the chili challenge pack opening, where if I don't get like high-rated players, I will eat a chili for everyone. Probably end up killing myself or something, but I'm that confident.
Well, I swear, if we lose to Arsenal, I'm gonna feel pretty down. If we lose to them lot, I am not gonna feel good, especially with us 2 being there. It's just not gonna be very nice. But hopefully, Chelsea, normal service will be resumed on Saturday. So, just where do you think we're gonna end up this year? What do you think about the Champions League? Because I think we need to do better in that this year. I feel it does. I know people say Bradford last year, but to me, I thought the worst game of last season for me, even higher than the Tottenham one, was Paris Saint-Germain. Like, that game against PSG was absolutely horrible. Just the way we played, the tactical kind of set up after they went down to 10 men it's so disappointing. And like it was just the way we played was just not like a Champions League game at all. A bit like this season, just no fight about us in those games. And we're definitely, like, usually at home, you expect Chelsea to put on a performance in a Champions League knockout game. That's usually what happens. we usually don't just fall flat and do nothing. You know, even if we lose a game, we still do something exciting in that game. So that was really disappointing about that game. So I think we need to do better in that. League Cup be interesting. I think League Cup's a really good competition for us. Of course, got Walsall, which we're going to be able to bring in some players who are on the kind of fringe of the team and don't get enough chance. I think Jose takes that competition very seriously, and we really did well in it last year. I thought from day one, Jose took it very seriously, and we ended up winning it, and really was a big help in the league, I think, in terms of that day out at Wembley. I'd love another day out at Wembley like that. FA Cup, yeah, we got to do better in the FA Cup. You know, we haven't done well in that for a few years now. So, you know, just give me your, and of course the Premier League. So let me know what your opinions, where we're sitting now, of what you think we're going to do in competitions this season.
Yeah, unlike some people in the Chelsea talk group, I don't believe that Chelsea will get relegated.
I'm looking forward to the derbies against Brentford and QPR. Looking forward to those ones. The Tuesday night trip to Carlisle when the Johnson's painting. No, I'm just kidding. That's League One. We have to get relegated twice to no, we shouldn't be that negative. Sorry.
Some people in Chelsea talk think that might happen. So it's been pretty dramatic in that group. If you're not familiar with that group, drop me a message in Facebook, Max Perry, and I'll try and sort of get you involved in it. I'm an admin. It's a great group to be a part of. There's only about 150 people in there. Always discussions, daily posts, daily comments, sort of really great to sort of get to know people that go to Chelsea. If you do go, you meet a few people. Really, really good group. But yeah, personally, I don't think we'll win the Premier League. I think City just look like unbelievable this season. Their squad is heads and shoulders above sort of what they had last season. I'd say it's not sort of massively better than ours, but it is better. So I think that they are going to win the league. I don't think any team comes close to us as opposed to second place. I'm not saying we won't win the league. I think we have the second best chance of doing it. However, I personally don't believe we will. If we do win the league, I'm not going to be like overly surprised or sort of like it's not going to be a massive shock, because obviously we are still up there with favourites and we will come second. There's no sort of, will we get top four, or sort of will we finish above Arsenal, Liverpool, United? There's stupid comments like that. Champions League, definitely got a point to prove. Obviously, last English team to win it, going into the competition, sort of representing the country, being the champions of the country itself. So we've got a massive point to prove. We should really, I don't know, when we come up against some of the bigger teams, normally it happens in England itself. When we come up against bigger teams, we do perform well. So I feel like that should be something that hopefully we do good at this season. However, tactically, we haven't looked great. So I don't know if that's going to work out too well. I'd say I think semi-finals would be good. However, yeah, I'm going to aim for semi-finals. I don't think we'll win it, but I think we'll have a good run in it, as we do more or less every season, other than obviously the season after we won it. League Cup, I feel like that's going to go to one of three teams, one being us. We won it last season. Good competition, as you were saying. It's a great chance for players like Loftus-Cheek to sort of get regular game time, sort of familiarise himself with what can sometimes be top sides in the Premier League, outside of the Premier League, sort of deal with a lot of different teams. Obviously, you got I
think it helped Zuma get a place in the team, actually, if I remember rightly. He got a few chances in League Cup, and his performance against Liverpool really, I think, helped him in that second leg, really helped him kind of solidify his place, you know.
Yeah, with how different English football is as well, it sort of familiarises younger players like Loftus-Cheek with physical teams from League Two, with sort of like fast-paced teams, teams with a lot of foreign players, and it can be great development for younger players. So the way I look at that is, what team has the strongest second team? And this season, I think obviously we are definitely up there. I feel like we have a really good chance of winning that. I would say we're favourites, because City are going to be focusing a lot on the league. They're obviously going to want to prove a point in the Champions League, because they do have a tough group, and sort of Champions League and the League Cup does tend to overlap a little bit in the group stages, with how difficult a group they've got as well. I think that might sort of mess them up a little bit. Also, controversial one, not a fan of them, but Liverpool. Their team looks a lot better this season. Obviously, they got to semi-finals last season. They look good against us, difficult to play against. They've made some really good signings, and sort of a lot of their players that they had in their team last season and obviously got to the semi-final with have now dropped to the bench. They've obviously got new players, and I think they've got a very sort of versatile squad, and I think they do have a good chance at getting far in the competition. Don't think they'll win it, but again, they're my three front runners for it. I'm going to say Chelsea for that. FA Cup, this is something I would love to win. Again, going on from the fact of how much I hate Arsenal, to see them win it 2 years in a row is painful. If they do it a third, I don't know if I'm going to be able to live anymore. Like first season, it was a whole sort of the FA Cup's not an important trophy, but then if they do it 2 seasons in a row, it sort of makes them look a little bit more dominant in the cup. And I'd really like to see us win that. I think it's a trophy that I'm yet to sort of experience us win, like sort of as a whole, because I am starting to go to games a lot more now, and it would be nice to go to cup games. I didn't really get the chance to last season with how early we got knocked out. But yeah, for that, I think I'm going to go for City with that again. It's really bad. Like, however, with what I'm saying, League Cup, Premier League, and FA Cup, I'm saying sort of City are favourites for them. But again, I think Chelsea are just behind. And if Chelsea sort of just knock ahead of City on any of them, I wouldn't be surprised. And I definitely don't think we'll do a trophy this season, so we will win something. But I think Champions League is currently out of reach until we learn to play against some of the better foreign sides.
I think that's a problem with most of the English sides at the moment, being too naive against these sides. I think actually we've got the best chance out of any English side because we have a manager who knows how to play in the Champions League. You know, he knows how
There's
to.
no doubt. Yeah, definitely. There's no doubt about that.
You know, you look at Wenger, 17 years, still tactically naive in the Champions League. Louis van Gaal, not sure what he's going to do. I mean, because this is his first season in Champions League with Man United. So interesting to see. I know they lost against PSV, but you never know what's going to happen with them. Of course, the quality of their squad, they've still got some. I think they still lack depth up front, so that I think that will affect them on all kind of fronts. And Man City, it's hard. I think they've got to get to at least a quarterfinal to make any sort of improvement, you know, and even that I don't think is improvement. I think you've got to make it to. They've got to beat a big team. You know, they've got to roll over a Barcelona. They've got to roll over a PSG, someone along those lines in a knockout base to really make it and make themselves seem serious in the competition. On the FA, you talking about Arsenal winning the FA Cup. Their 2 FA Cups don't match up to our 1 Champions League, and that kind of shows you where the FA Cup is. A lot it's with the League Cup as well. I mean, I'd probably say right now, I know I'm being biased because I don't know, people traditionalists will say, oh no, the FA Cup's the biggest trophy and all that crap at the moment, because the fact is, if City and Chelsea both took the FA Cup really seriously, Bradford and Middlesbrough wouldn't have beaten them at home. Quite simple. It's just that's the way it is. It was an amazing day for Bradford, but let's be honest, if Diego Costa, John Terry, our first team were out that night, on that day against Bradford, we would have won that game quite comfortably, in my opinion. It's the fact we made so many changes. Andreas Christensen coming into that team. I think it was the same as City. They had a mid-season friendly and then flew back the day of the Middlesbrough game. So that shows you how serious some Premier League teams take it. I think it's the same with the League Cup. The team that takes it most seriously wins the competition. And that's because Arsenal took it very seriously. And, you know, I do agree with you on Liverpool. I think Brendan Rodgers has to win something this season. He just has to justify another year. I think Liverpool fans are becoming tired. And, you know, I actually think, you know, people say Mourinho's going to get sacked. I think Brendan Rodgers could get sacked very soon. I think if he, for instance, say if he was to lose at the weekend, get another negative result, he has tough away games. If he was to come to us on the 31st of October and lose, you know, if they continue to struggle in like the Europa League, it's going to get worse for him. And I think that the League Cup actually could be the best chance for him to get any sort of silverware this year. I think the FA Cup as well, but I still think Liverpool, usually what happens is you usually get 2 big teams will get through to the semi-final stage. That's usually the case because 2 of them at least kind of take it seriously enough to get there in the League Cup and in the FA Cup. So, yeah, I think Chelsea have got a chance. If we take the League Cup seriously, if we take the FA Cup seriously, we could go a long way. You know, it's just about rotation. It's about where our priorities lie. I think, as I agree with you, you know, City, I think City will want to prioritise the Premier League and also the Champions League. So I think they'll probably rest players in the League Cup. I think the same with us. You know, I think we will rest players, but Jose does like the League Cup. I think he sees it as a good springboard that can get you the first silverware in that March and can really push you on for the last kind of hurdle in the league, which it did last year. So yeah, let's wrap it up at this point. I want to thank Max for coming on to today. of course, you've got your channel. So just before we cut it off, just before we cut it off, you can promote all your stuff once again. Talk about your channel, talk about your social media, where people can find you, and then we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, I'm just going to say quick. Obviously, going to the Arsenal game on Saturday. Hopefully, doing a vlog video. I did say in my last video, I did try and keep it a secret that I was a Chelsea fan. However, I started recording a foot draft video. Realised I was wearing my Chelsea shirt.
Why are you keeping a secret that you're a Chelsea fan, man?
Because I went into the channel with the intention of trying to sort of keep it as neutral as possible, and I wanted fans from all over the globe, all over the country, coming and not thinking, oh, he's only saying that because he's a Chelsea fan, or oh, he's only saying that because he doesn't like Arsenal. But yeah, as I said, I recorded a foot draft video after the Everton game, still wearing my Chelsea shirt, and completely forgot. Didn't have time to record another, so I thought, do you know what? Secret's out. I'm sick of going to Chelsea games and not being able to vlog or sort of talk about my opinion. So yeah, I've let my secret out. Ben and Derek are both keeping theirs, which is good because I think a lot of people will be unhappy with who Derek supports, so we'll get slaughtered if anyone finds out that one. Same with Ben, probably. But yeah, we're going to keep that quiet. I am doing a vlog at the Chelsea game. Hopefully we can get a cheeky appearance of Son of Chelsea if I do see him. So if you do want to see Son of Chelsea in a different light, maybe in a vlog video, we'll get a quick, if he's got time with his 100% Chelsea, we'll get a quick sort of vlog appearance with him, maybe. That'd be great to see. If you do want to see that, head over to the channel for Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be at the game and hopefully a positive result. So I'll be buzzing and I'll be up for anything after that game. If we lose, maybe not, and maybe even you will be not that confident to make a vlog. You know, if the result goes right on Saturday, yeah, even a draw, I think I'll be up for that. And definitely, jokes aside, definitely. You know, there'll be loads of content on Saturday. Also, 100% Chelsea. There'll be content coming up in the next few days. Also, be content. I'll be doing the interview and probably some other stuff on Saturday. So go and check out all the channels. And yeah, there will be an Arsenal preview tomorrow night. Let me just tell you right now, I'm not 100% sure in which format it's going to be. It could be in this format of a hangout with a representative of Arsenal coming on here to talk. Or if it's not going to be that, I'll just make the normal preview with the HD camera. Yeah, because Chelsea made a good performance against. I said on my Everton preview that I was just going to do a webcam. You know, so I've kind of broken but this is the Google Hangout, so you can let me off. So if Chelsea, I was saying that if Chelsea don't the most as the bad form goes on, I was just going to do a webcam because they don't deserve my HD camera. But because they won on Wednesday, my HD camera will be back out if I don't do the Google Hangout. But you can let me off for this one because I've got an excuse, an Arsenal fan-like excuse that got the Google Hangout, so can't really use a HD camera for that. It would take a lot more work. Yeah. So, but probably I hope to have a Google Hangout with an Arsenal fan kind of previewing the game and do a proper preview and all of that. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. As I say, actually, just to remind you, yeah, just let me know on Twitter. Would you like to see some gaming content on this channel in the future? Let me know about that. As I'll keep on saying, go and check out Max's channel. Link in the description below. Also, you've got my Twitter @SonOfChelsea. Also, Snapchat. I've also got a Facebook page for the channel, which you can go and like on Facebook. So that's really it. Subscribe for more CFC content. And yep, I'll see you again.